Hey guys, welcome to Splash Talk, and I'm K Good. Today we're going to talk about Earl Thomas's ex-wife's boyfriend stealing allegedly $1.9 million from him in a scam that was committed using identity theft. So her boyfriend's name is Kevin J. Thompson. Kevin was supposedly using an ID that had Earl Thomas's name on it and was taking that into the bank to cash his game checks. And if you know anything about Earl Thomas is a 7-time Pro Bowl player. He's a Super Bowl winning safety. You just can't imagine that his ex-wife's boyfriend, of all people, would be the person that's stealing money from him. First off, my question is, how did the ex-boyfriend get a hold of the man's bank accounts, get a hold of his checks? And he even stole cars. He was transferring cars from Earl's name into his name and able to have these cars in possession to take to these places to get the transfers. So he was transferring the title over and doing all of that good stuff. So when he got caught up on one of the cars, he tried to actually go back and retrieve the car, use Earl's Rolls Royce to go pick up the other car. So it's crazy to me that his ex-wife, Nina Thomas, I don't know what her involvement was with this scam that is being committed by the boyfriend, but it seems kind of odd that this type of situation could happen and the boyfriend have this much access to game checks, other types of funds, vehicles, without some type of involvement from the ex-wife. So as this story unfolds, this is going to be kind of crazy because it just doesn't even make sense that, you know, someone could think that they would have a chance to cash checks in the other person's name, especially being a celebrity. Even if he does have $30-40 million, that you would get away with cashing checks in his name and nobody would detect it. So the way that the guy actually got found out is that he went into the bank branch, and one of the people that was in that bank or the bank headquarters realized the person that was showing the ID and cashing these checks was not the Earl Thomas, because the person was familiar with who Earl Thomas is. So as you can see how this went, he was now arrested. We're gonna see what this leads to and how these allegations unfold. What do you think? Is the ex-wife involved? Do you think that the boyfriend just found this information and just got creative and started doing his own thing? Which seems to me highly unlikely, but you know, there's possibility that he could have done that. Also, it says that he is facing identity theft, forgery, money laundering, credit card fraud, computer fraud, and bank fraud. Sounds like he's facing at least 7 charges, this scam that he pulled on Earl Thomas. Thompson allegedly had a forged driver's license that had his picture superimposed on Earl Thomas's information to be able to go ahead and open this bogus bank account and be able to start cashing these checks. He was able to transfer auto titles, including one that was for the Rolls Royce Cullinan, into his name as well. And he drove to the bank on the day that he was arrested. It just seems silly to me that someone would knowingly scam and not realize that driving these vehicles around that are super flashy, going into banks, showing your face, cashing checks, doing these different things that you know aren't you. Why would you keep trying those, putting yourself in this predicament? A lot of criminals are dumb. Right now, this is only allegations, so we don't know for sure if this is something that the boyfriend did or not. But as of now, it's looking like these details say that he did this. Kevin Thompson is free after a $730,000 bond, and now his attorney has declined commenting on the situation. We'll find out further information as the federal investigators dig into these details more. Thomas and his ex-wife Nina had divorced in 2020, so they've been separated for at least 3 years. No telling what type of involvement the wife had, how this was executed. I'll be curious to find out more details as it comes about as to the way that this man pulled this situation off. This is a crazy crime to have been committed. The credit union that Earl Thomas was part of, that was in his native hometown of Texas, informed the police that this account had been opened up in Louisiana and was not opened up by Earl Thomas. So that's how this gentleman got caught. He was actually on his way to the bank when he was arrested. Also, once he had got one of the vehicles repossessed because it was stolen, which was the Rolls Royce Cullinan, he actually tried to attempt to pick up that vehicle with another vehicle that was also a stolen vehicle from Earl Thomas. Criminals just seem to be dumber than they should be, especially once you've gotten away with a few things. Why you would attempt to get away with further and cause yourself more harm and more charges. So when you finally end up going to jail, you're gonna spend a long time in there. I can't say most criminals are smart. A lot of criminals are not smart, and that's why they get caught at what they do. Shouldn't do crimes like this, especially so close to where you lay your head. You're with the man's ex-wife, and you're over here, funneling his money and his property. Crazy time. During the time that Earl Thomas and Nina Thomas were together, she accused him of infidelity during their relationship. So that might have led up to them actually filing for divorce, because they ended their relationship in 2020. Sometime after that, she got involved with this Thompson dude, Kevin Thompson, that tried to take her ex-husband to the cleaners, literally. Thompson was even said to have sold some of Earl Thomas's vehicles off from his possession, which doesn't even make sense as to how he physically got those vehicles from Earl Thomas's house, or if the wife provided them, or how that happened. How do you sell a man's vehicle out from under him and just expect that you're gonna get away with it and there's not gonna be repercussions? Someone won't find out that you took these vehicles. Kind of hard to not know where your vehicle's at, because you can't really misplace that. Kevin Thompson was arrested driving Earl Thomas's blue Rolls-Royce Cullinan when he was headed to the bank. And what's crazy is once he got released from custody, he was said to be returning to try and pick up that vehicle from custody. He was driving another stolen vehicle that belonged to Earl Thomas as well. This man was just compounding his problems and kept trying to just think that he was getting over and he was smarter than the police and the banks, I guess. Crazy. So it looks like Thompson opened this bank account back in May of 2022 at Jefferson Federal Credit Union. He was working gradually on transferring money from Earl Thomas's accounts and his checks over into the phony account, and was said to had wired at least $700,000 into the Jefferson Federal account. Thompson would then go into the branches and withdraw cash. Thompson would withdraw the cash from the bank throughout that year. In May of 2023, Thompson had withdrawn $50,000 from that bank account that he had set up fraudulently in Earl Thomas's name. Thompson was also said to have broken into Earl Thomas's retirement account and was transferring funds from that account to the Jefferson Federal Credit Union account that he had opened up and was using throughout this year. Many of the people on social media that are responding to this story that's now a hot topic are blaming the ex-wife and thinking that she had some involvement with this. And most logic tells you that she might have had something to do with this, because there's no way that this man just had all this access to Earl Thomas's name, address, any other pertinent details he needed to be able to transfer vehicles, how he got copies of titles, all these different things, and was able to wire money from his retirement account into this other account that this gentleman was able to open up in his name by using a picture of himself on an ID with Earl Thomas's information. So all these things make it really hard to believe that the ex-wife had nothing to do with this whole entire thing. I think as we discover more details about what happened in this situation, there'll be more that comes out that shows that the ex-wife was involved in some way, shape, or form. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notifications button, stay tuned on all the hottest topics that come out, current events, sports, entertainment news. We'll keep you posted with everything that we see.